morning, everyone. I'm Shelley, and I'm here at the Education Library at Queen's University, and we want to welcome you to the Forest of Reading Illustrator visit. These sessions have become a favorite part of the program, and every year we're happy to have incredibly talented illustrators who will share with us their process to bring stories to life through art on the page. And we will have the recording available today up until June 30th for you to watch. Today's session will be in two parts. We'll have a presentation and a demonstration by our illustrator, and then we'll have a short question and answer to get to know them and their creative process a little bit better. Just a reminder, the voting for Forest of Reading will happen through to the award ceremony in April, and with the live and digital events taking place May 12th to 14th. More details can be found on forestofreading.com. So now let's get to the fun part. We're so excited to have with us today Ashley Spires, the illustrator and author of The Most Magnificent Team, nominated for Blue Spruce, and she has written many other and illustrated many other books that I have some of them on display behind me. So I'm just going to read briefly a bio from Ashley's site and then let you take it away. So Ashley is the author and illustrator of many books, including the best-selling Magnificent series and Blinky the Space Cat series, both of which are now animated series on Treehouse. Her book Small Saul was chosen as the 2016 TD Grade 1 giveaway book. She is the drinker of tea, eater of candy, lover of cats. When she's not making books, she enjoys yoga, jogging, and making Swiftie-themed beaded bracelets. Ashley lives just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, with her dog and far too many felines. Please join me in giving a warm Forest of Reading welcome to Ashley Spires.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Spires. I am the author and illustrator of this book right here, The Most Magnificent Team, which has been nominated. Thank you so much. And I hope you vote for this one, but also just read the books and vote. That's good too. I'm going to talk about The Most Magnificent Team and where that idea came from, but I can't really talk about this book without talking about this book and this book. Because that's the thing about a series, right? They're all very connected. So I'm going to share my screen now. One moment, if you can bear with me. And I will start this up. There we go. Hopefully you can see this. So this is me when I make books. So The Most Magnificent Thing. Let's start with that, because this is where the whole thing started. I created this book about this girl who wants to make something just right. But I'm sure you guys know that the first time you try and make something, or the second time you try to make things, or even the 12th time you try and make things, it cannot work out and it can be really frustrating and you can want to quit. And now the reason I made this book is because I was trying to make a whole different, I had this whole different idea about a girl and tiger, and I couldn't make it work. I tried changing it. I tried all different ways and I couldn't make it work. And I wanted to quit. I cried. I decided I will never probably make a book ever again, until I realized that those feelings that I was feeling are what everybody feels when you're going through the creative process, when you're trying to make something, whether it's the first time you've tried to make something or the 30th. So I made this book all about this little girl. And like I said, she sets out with her assistant, which is her wee dog there. And she's trying to make something and it doesn't work out. And so she tries over and over and over again. She tries all different ways to make it better. Doesn't work. She gets very, very, very frustrated. And she decides that she's going to quit. She says, I'm not good at this. I'm going to quit. But then once her assistant suggests a walk and they go out in the beautiful air and she just lets her mind just calm down a little bit, she comes back and she sees all sorts of parts of the things that were wrong, so-called wrong, that are actually right. And because of all the mistakes that she's made, she now knows how to do it right. It's pretty much a complete allegory. If you know what that word means, it means that it's a version of my experience, which is you got to do it wrong to get it right, which is my motto in life. And so because of all those mistakes, she now knows how to do it properly. And that's when she makes this little sidecar for her dog. So I made this book, and I was so lucky that educators around the world have loved this book. Kids love this book. It's in about close to 30 different languages now around the world, which is amazing. And I thought, well, maybe I could make another book about the creative process. It won't be about making things and making mistakes, but maybe there are some other aspects of creation, of making things, that can be hard. And one of them is getting an idea. Some days you want to make something and the idea doesn't show up. So the most magnificent idea is just about that. We're with that same girl and her assistant, but what happens the morning she wakes up and says, I don't know what to make. So she decides to be can-do about it, because that worked the last time, right? The other time when something doesn't work, if she just keeps trying, it started to work again. So she keeps trying, and she explores the neighborhood, and she comes back and she looks at all the things that she's made, and yet she can't get a magnificent new idea. She digs in closets, she reads books, she does all the things to try and get her idea maker. She even goes and does other things. She decides she's going to go try ballet and playing the tuba and snorkeling. Nothing works. And it isn't until, again, she reaches a pretty low point where a bunch of boxes fall on her head with a crash, that she has a moment and thinks, what if I never have an idea ever again? But again, she just had to walk away a bit. She had to get distracted. And then her brain was like, oh, there's the idea. And so she ends up making, in this book, she makes a catio for her cat neighbor who keeps getting out. And that's, again, very true to my life. All of my kitties are indoor kitties, and I built a catio outside for them so they could go outside safely. So this book was all about not having the idea. But again, creating things. We have lots of different experiences. We meet lots of different challenges. So another I wanted to talk about in the Magnificent series is, how do you make something with someone else? It's one thing to persevere on your own. It's another thing to just go out and get an idea and like, oh, there's my idea. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it the way I want to make it. But what happens when you have an idea and you want to make it, but the other person wants to make it differently from you? So the Most Magnificent Team is all about this girl, who's only ever called girl in the books, meeting the neighbor. And she and the neighbor both love building things. Perfect. It should be easy to build something together, right? Except it's pretty tough, because the neighbor really likes to measure twice and cut once, whereas the girl likes to dive in and just start making mistakes and see what happens. And so there's a lot of friction. They don't get along, and they get kind of mad at each other, really mad at each other. And they decide that they're going to put a line in the middle of the sidewalk, and neighbor can build over there, and girl's going to build right here. And eventually they figure out that they each have their strengths. The neighbor is very good at her precise measurements and making sure everything's painted just perfectly. And the girl is really good at coming up with new and innovative ideas. And actually they can complement each other if they just give each other a little space sometimes. I'm sorry, that is Bruce, my dog. It is garbage collection day, and he has a lot to say about it. Where is he? All right. It'll just be a little local color. And then in this book, what they end up making, again, for animals, is a pet cooling station, because it's summertime and they're getting quite warm. So the dog that is off in the distance barking right now, Bruce, I just want to point out that he is actually in the book. That's him. That's his little cameo moment there. That's Bruce, the dog. He was only a puppy when I was making this book, so he's very small in the picture. So before I show you guys how to draw the girl, I wanted to show you that I'm much like the girl in this book. My creative process means I make a lot of mistakes. I don't get anything right the first time, and I have to practice and I have to play. So the very first time I came up with drawing the neighbor, she like this. And this is how I start my ideas going. If I'm introducing a new character, I like to draw them. I like to give them different expressions, which is something we're going to do in a couple minutes. And this is where she started. And when I sit down and write a book and draw the book, I don't draw it and it's done and it's perfect the first time. I make, again, a lot of mistakes. And much like the characters in The Most Magnificent Team, I don't work alone. I work with people. So what I do is I sit down and I draw the whole book and I send it off to my editor. Now, she's kind of like who your teacher is to you. She looks at my work, she gives me suggestions, she helps make the book better. And not just my editor, but I also work with a book designer, and she's got a whole other cool ideas, and she's the one who helps me figure out where the words are going to go and the cool fonts and all that kind of stuff. So this was the very first time I drew page 6 and 7 from the book. And I don't know, I don't think I've shown it to you yet, but this is a little bit different, right? Okay. And then my editor thought, okay, there's too much going on in this page. So we cut it back and we flipped the girl. And that's what the sketch ended up looking like. I'm like, okay, so again, that was just one of the many pages in this book that needed to be tweaked and changed. And then I wanted to show you also all the stages of illustrating something. I do it all on my computer, which is right here, which is what I'm going to draw with you guys on in a second. And I start with this sketch, and then I put all the really fine lining in. So this is all what we call inked, even though it's not done with actual ink. But the black line, I do all that first, and then I put in some nice flat color so that you can see where all the little colors are going to go. And then to make her look like she's actually standing there, I add a bunch of shading on her and the dog. So I did 3 books in this series. I also did an alphabet book, which is The Most Magnificent Makers A to Z, which is just kind of a compendium of all the different words that we use when we're making things. But also you may have had, there's a few pages from that. You may have had an opportunity also, though, to see The Most Magnificent Thing, the animated movie. It's a short animated film that's out, but also there's an animated series that I believe is going to start airing on Treehouse this year, which is very exciting because I've been waiting a long time for you guys to get to see it. It's called Millie Magnificent. And also, just in case you weren't sick of the Magnificent World yet, you can also play the game. There is a game out there called Make That Most Magnificent Thing, and it's a fun tool to build your own things and imagine how you would solve problems with all the things that it gives you. So that is how I make a book. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing that screen and I'm going to start sharing this one because it's time for us to do some drawing. Now, what you're going to see is my screen right here. This is Photoshop. I do all my drawings in Photoshop. It doesn't look glamorous, but I love it because, again, I make a lot of mistakes. And so I always have an undo button. So today we are going to draw the girl from the book, and we are going to draw all her different facial expressions because I'm sure, as you noticed, she has a lot of feelings. These are books about feelings. These are books about all the ways that we express ourselves when we're trying to create something, and all the ways it can go wrong, all the ways it can go right. So we have to draw her happy and sad and frustrated and angry and flummoxed and all different things. So we're going to start by drawing the girl. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see here. And I'm going to start just by drawing her head because, we got to have her face first. So let's start with, well, it's going to look actually like just a giant smile. So that's the girl. Now, I don't want you guys to worry all about this perfect. I'm not going to draw this perfect. To be perfectly honest, it's been a few years since I drew her, so it might be a little wobbly, but the whole point is that we practice a lot. My dog has decided to take this opportunity to tell the neighborhood all of his stories. So we're going to add her little ear there, and then this is where the hair goes. So we've got one piece there. Now we're going to put another piece there. And then we're going to connect it again right here. Now this is the top of her hair. So let's put the top of her head in there, which kind of looks like, I don't know what it looks like actually. What does it look like? I was going to say kind of like a mountain. See, now I'm gonna cheat. So this is my stylus. I love this thing because the other end of it, just like a pencil, is always an eraser. And like I said, I make a lot of mistakes. So it's really nice to go back in and fix things when I want to. She's a little wobbly, but you guys get the drift. Let's give her her other ear though. Sorry about that. And then we're going to give her some pigtails, which are nice and easy. They're kind of like noodles on the side of her head. So that is the girl. Now, again, I'm going to do this amazing cheating thing, which is really mean, but I'm going to do this thing where I can copy and paste and give myself a whole bunch of girls because I want to show you guys how to do a whole bunch of different expressions. So I'm going to do this. Now, obviously, you guys are probably using paper and pencil, but you can, of course, just practice drawing her again. Practice over and over again. Now, her face. Well, let's start with the girl. She's just going to be like she's walking down the street daydreaming about her latest idea. So we're going to start with her eyeballs. I tend to start with the eyes because the eyes are always the most important part of every expression, in my experience. So we're going to have her eyes, and we're going to do a little wee line for her nose, and she has a little, that's the bridge of her nose there. Like I said, she's daydreaming, so we're going to give her a little smile, maybe a tiny bit of where her lip is. And she's going to be looking off to the side because, like I said, she's just, what am I going to build today? And again, the other thing that's very important, I find, eyebrows. So her eyebrows are just going to be kind of in their regular resting state right there. So that's what the girl kind of looks like on a good day. So let's see what she looks like when she's surprised. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are big time artists and maybe you have already started to play around with facial expressions, but I find what I like to do when I want to give somebody a facial expression is I often will look at myself in the mirror, or if that's too far away, I'll look at my phone and make faces, and it'll help me figure out what I want the facial expression to look like. So if you're surprised, pretend you're surprised for a second. Your eyebrows go up and your mouth opens. So let's put her eyebrows way up high because she's very surprised. Also, usually when you're surprised, you're staring at something, so your eyeballs are right in the middle. So we'll give her, look at that. She's already looking like, oh, deer caught in the headlights. We'll give her the same little nose. That's the one thing that doesn't change too much, except if she's disgusted, it might get a little, you might see a bit of a nostril there. And then her mouth, I'm sorry, I don't love that. AI is popping up far too often. So there's her mouth. And a good way to show also is just to put a little bit of where her tongue is right there. And again, a little bit of a lip there. She's surprised. Now let's see what she would look like if she's angry. What I like to do when I have an angry character is I actually start with the eyebrows, because when you're angry, your eyebrows get really low, right? So I like to start when I have an angry character, and anyone who's ever drawn Binky with me knows it usually starts this way too. I like to start with 2 lines across your face because those are your eyebrows. And the nice thing about that too is that it will show you exactly where you need to put your eyeballs. So instead of round eyeballs this time, we're just going to put little half circles underneath those eyebrows. She's looking real mad, and she's mad at something that she's made. So she's looking down. She's looking down at the thing, going, "Why isn't this working?" So we'll give her her nose again, and this time when your mad mouth kind of goes, right? So I'm going to give her just a tiny little mouth, tiny little angry mouth. And actually, another thing you can do to kind of like show that she's really mad is you can add the little creases that we get right here. And you can even make her have little bags under her eyes, like, oh, it's really been getting to her. So that's how I an angry character. You can even actually go up a little bit on the eyebrows if you wanted to. And something else that she might do is she might, especially if her dog decides to pee on something, which he often does in the books, and I can tell you, as having a dog, they pee on stuff, is she can look a little dubious, right? She can, or she could look a little curious. She could have the one eyebrow up. So let's give her eyes again. And we're going to do her little nose as usual, right here. And she can be looking to the side. She's not so sure about the thing she's looking at. So I think she's going to have one eyebrow that goes like this. And then the other eyebrow is going to be up there. Sometimes eyebrows can do a lot of heavy lifting for your emotions. And I think in this one, she might just be a little bit like, you know, just that straight line, like, I don't know what's going on there. Now, we could also do some very happy expressions, like maybe something really just worked out. And when you're really happy, you smile really big, and then your eyes get a little bit crinkly, right? So maybe this time we're going to do two little wee half smiles on both sides. There. Hi, bud. And then above that, we're going to do little half circles. And she's probably smiling because she's looking at her dog, just like I did when my dog just walked in the room. And she's going to have happy eyebrows, just like that. And then we can give her her nose as per usual. And then this time, though, we'll give her a nice big smile, really big. She's having a great day. Yay! Just like that. My dog just brought me the ball and put it next to me. So he's, I don't know, can you guys see him off in the distance? He's staring at me like, why aren't you throwing the ball? And then one more expression, which is one that she does, again, often when the dog has peed on stuff, is kind of disgusted. Like, ew. This is her ew face. And her ew face is kind of interesting because, like we did the one eyebrow up, this time we're going to have one eye kind of squinty. Like, ugh. So she's going to have one eye like that. And then the other eye is actually going to be open. And she's looking down like, oh, the dog just peed on the thing. And we're going to, this is the one time we do something different with her nose. We're going to give her a nostril because she's like, mm. And so her nostril got kind of big there. So we're going to do like a little half smile there and then give her the rest of her nose. Just to give you an indication that she's just like maybe smelt something that's kind of gross. And then for her mouth, I'm going to do a little squiggle because she's really like, ugh. Yeah. And then her eyebrows, we'll just go slightly above and just do little straight ones like that and give her a little line. There she is. Oof, all grossed out. So this is, of course, just six expressions of the how many millions of expressions do we all have? But this is just one of the many things that us illustrators get to do when we're drawing characters. And honestly, expressions and characters are my favorite thing to draw. So Shelley, let's come on back and I will happily stop sharing my screen and we can have a lovely chat.
Thank you for that. That was super fun. And I hope that the students watching were making the angry face and ew face and happy face. Yeah, so much expression just with the eyes and the eyebrows and the mouth. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so this is our opportunity to ask a few questions, and hopefully I'll ask some that the students might have been thinking themselves. Curious what got you interested and when did you know you wanted to be an illustrator of children's books?
Mm-hmm. It took me a while, actually. So obviously I loved reading, I loved drawing, I loved making my own stories up when I was younger, but it never even occurred to me to actually do it as a job until I went to art school. And so I was in my early 20s and I took a bookmaking class and my teacher was a professional author and illustrator. And it was like, oh, so this thing I love to do in my spare time can actually be a job. And so it was kind of a lightning bolt moment. And I after that, I just spent all my time pursuing the dream, and it worked. Yay.
Very good. We're glad you did. In terms of, I guess, perfecting your craft and in terms of your skill, I'm just looking at, you showed the drawing and some of these same pages, but often you have a background that's black and white, and then your characters have some color. Just wondered if you wanted to comment about how you decide to use color and where to apply it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's funny because when the first book came out, I had some children asking me, like, did you just run out of time and you couldn't color the background? and maybe some people would have that excuse. I actually made that plan. I wanted the characters and her emotions, like we just experienced there, to be the thing that stands out. And the world behind her can kind of be secondary. So I wanted it to so you knew where she was, but the character herself and her experiences and her emotions were the thing I wanted you to pay attention to. So that was my way of sort of directing the viewer's eye to what I wanted you to really pay attention to. Now, sometimes I do full. Obviously, most of the time I do full color background and things. So this was kind of a bit of a swing for me. But it was nice that I got to play. I try and do different illustrations or different. Obviously everything I draw kind of looks the same, not the same, but like it looks like it's been drawn by Ashley because it has been. But I try and change some elements every time I approach a new book and a new book series so that you see it and you're like, oh, I know that's from this. And like if you saw a drawing from Bert, it's Bert the Beetle, I see him there behind you, you would recognize that the color. I think mine, I put mine far away, so thank you. It's a little bit more bold. It's a little bit more crisp. There's no shading on it. And then if you picked up, there we go. If you picked up Pinky, you would see that it's actually hand painted. So they're all just a little bit different so that you know which world you've gone into. So I try and make my worlds look a little bit different is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Great. And what's it like for you? You showed us some sneak peeks at some of your series that will be on television. What's it like for you seeing your stories and your drawings on the television screen?
Absolutely a dream come true. So while I didn't know I was going to be an illustrator when I was younger, I thought I was maybe going to be an animator. Like I have always been obsessed with animation. Obviously, I'm old, so I grew up in the 80s, and I was pausing every Disney VHS so I could draw the characters off the screen. I absolutely in love with animation my whole life, and I think I just at some point thought, okay, that's probably not going to work for me. I didn't think I was a good enough drawer. So I pivoted and went into illustration. No regrets. Absolutely love it. But then for it to kind of come full circle in my life that I got to live out my dream by seeing these worlds that I've created animated. And I mean, I worked on the shows as well. I was a producer and I wrote a lot of episodes on both shows. So I got to be very much a part of it. And it was absolutely a dream come true. I mean, imagine nobody thinks they're going to get to see their work, let alone two of your works animated as, yeah, it's heaven. I love it.
Fantastic. And in game form as well.
Yeah. That was a wild one. I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah. So
Great.
cool.
That's great. Okay. So maybe on that note, what's the best part about being a children's book illustrator?
Making your own hours. I'm a very much a night owl, so I work a lot in the evenings, and when the rest of the world is rolling out of bed at 6:30 a.m., I am not. I love it. I also love that I get to completely live in my imagination. It's amazing. Like my job is to imagine stuff, is to daydream, is to create worlds and make people laugh if I've done my job correctly anyway. It's really there's no parts of the job that aren't awesome, except maybe a deadline. That's the only time when things are hard, when you're like, oh, I have to finish this book by this date, and then sleep tends to go out the window and eating properly goes out the window. But yeah, I would say that getting to be home with my pets, drawing, living my imagination, it's the dream job. It really is.
Lovely. Can you tell us what you're working on right now?
I'm working on the third Bert book, which unfortunately at this point, all I can show you is this because this is all it exists as, which is a Word document with my scribbles on it. I'm going to start drawing his story this afternoon. Hopefully it's all about the things insects eat this time, which is going to be great fun. And I also have a new book coming out next year, which is very different for me. I don't have an actual book to show you yet because we're still finalizing everything, but it is my first middle grade graphic novel. So this is a 200-page graphic novel. It is called Goth Unicorn. It is semi-autobiographical, but taking place in a world of mythological creatures. And it's the first time I've written something for that older age range and drawn something at this scale. And it took me a very long time. And I hope everyone likes it. It's very
Yeah.
scary because it is my, like, I feel like it's my magnum opus. You know, this is the thing I've been working on for so long. So I really hope people connect with it. And then soon I'll be starting writing the second in that series as well. So
Excellent. Gives us something to look forward to.
I hope so.
Um, Maybe as a closing question, I'll ask perhaps some of the students watching today might also want to be a children's book illustrator one day. Do you have any advice you'd give to them?
Um, Boy, the world is so different now from when I got into the industry. Like you barely needed a website when, again, real old, very, very old. I would recommend that you draw a lot. That when and if, I hope it's an if and not when, people might question your choice to get into this industry, as sometimes the world does for people who do artwork, that you do it anyway. You just keep practicing, you keep showing up, you keep creating things. Making something is never time wasted. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're making. If it's illustration, if it's craft work, I love doing craft stuff. Creating is always a good use of your time. So if you want to do this, keep doing it because you're passionate, and people will recognize that in your work. There's no way to not feel emotionally connected to something that someone put their love and heart into. So I would say keep working, keep practicing. If you once you get to a much older age, you can start to post it on social media, because I know a lot of editors and designers do look on social media for people to see their work, but don't do that yet. Wait till your brain is fully developed. I don't want you on social media yet. And yeah, and if you have the opportunity, go to art school. But honestly, practicing on your own at home, I know lots of incredible illustrators who skipped art school altogether. So just do it because you love it, and practice, practice, practice.
Thank you, Ashley. Such great messages, and so wonderful to see you doing your drawings and explaining your creative process to us. So thank you from everybody watching today, and what an incredible opportunity for all of the Force of Reading viewers to have seen all of that. So for everybody watching, please look at forestofreading.com for dates for other upcoming sessions, information, activities, and dates for Forest of Reading celebrations. Keep reading, keep drawing, keep imagining. We can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks so much.